like it. But she passed every spiritual test I gave to her. Like, for instance, when I came into the house, I made a point. I wanted to shake her hand and tell her, "Hi, my name is Leon Wilkes, and we're to help you." The reason why I wanted to do that is because she didn't know that I have holy water on my hands. If she is possibly possessed, she's going to have a reaction. Sure enough, I shook her hand, no reaction. Okay, cool. But then she said to me, "Don't let me near my children. I'm afraid I might hurt them." I'm like, okay, cool. Well, duly noted. We handled the case very, very calmly, just in case it was a possession. But nothing there, spiritually, was telling me that this was a demonic possession. It looked like it from the outside because this girl was acting the part very, very well. All this person was, she hated her mother, and then from there, she was acting out, and she was pretending to be possessed. She went as far as defecating in her mother's room. She went as far as holding her mother down and smearing stuff like in her face. But this was not a demonic possession. This was clearly a case of either psychological disorder, or this person just really did not like their mother at all. And we had our psychologist there, and she's a paranormal investigator too. So it's works both ways. She knows her stuff when it comes to the psychological realm, but she also knows the paranormal side of it too. And she's been studying, the psychological effect when it happens to be possessions versus not possession. And we had her there, and she said clearly this girl has some form of psychosis. So we gave the client what her she lived in the same house with her mother, and we told her mother, here is some steps that needs to happen. She needs psychological counseling. She needs to be in a facility to where they can give her that 24-hour care. But yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, if a paranormal team does not know how to handle things or what to look for, they probably would have ran that as a demonic possession, and they probably would have called in a priest to actually do an exorcism, in which an exorcism was not needed.
In some of those cases like that, when paranormal groups kind of, we'll say, overreacts a little bit or don't do their investigative techniques correctly, mm-hmm. and they do run into, well, they try to bring a priest or a pastor or something in some cases that can make it worse.
Yes. In those cases, you can open them up to the one thing you're trying to get them rid of, because these things work on, these demonic entities work on the law of attraction, and they're going to want some kind of attention. Sometimes I call them adolescents because all they want is some kind of attention. So I have seen cases where they go and bring in this rogue person to do an exorcism, or they treat it as a demonic case, which it's not. And then when they leave, well, guess who shows his ugly head? A demon. And then they are left in a worse situation than they were already in.
You're absolutely right, and it always brings me back to never call out these spirits. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what you think, if they're negative or if they're not so negative, and you're just trying to get them to give you a response. Never, ever, ever call these out, because you may still not get a response, like you said, whenever you guys leave or we leave, that family or them people that you've left behind has to deal with the repercussions of that.
Exactly. You know what? I have even seen paranormal investigators will go into a case thinking it's demonic, and for some strange reason, go ahead and start religious provocation.
Oh,
Um,
I've been
now,
on
the
one of
way,
those.
oh, it was crazy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, because it brought so much more to that family
Yeah,
that we had to get a priest in.
yeah, yeah. Dave Considine taught me that religious provocation is only under a last ditch effort. And I don't care if you've done your investigation and you get nothing, you have absolutely nothing, but you need proof of something, then that's when religious provocation will have to happen. But I always, I always bring the family out of the house, off the property, and then me and one more person of my team will go in and we'll do the religious provocation to catch the evidence. And then after that, we are fully prepared to do what we need to do to get rid of it. I've seen videos of these paranormal teams. They'll go in there all in a gung ho, slinging holy water, talking all this junk to these spirits, and then all of a sudden you see scratches form not on their body but on the client's body.
Right.
See, you're there to protect the client. You should treat this like you're a policeman and you're getting called on scene. Okay, your number one priority is protection of the victim. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's how I look at it. And when we go on scene, when we come onto a case, and I've only had one case where I've had to do religious provocation. One case out of all my years of doing this, and I tell you, if I will tell you right now, if I wasn't scared before I started that, I would be lying. I brought everyone off of the property. Me and my right hand man, we went in and we did religious provocation. But before that, I spent 30 minutes praying. I spent 30 minutes asking God to protect us. And just as soon as I felt like I was spiritually ready, we went in. And the religious provocation only took 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I saw what I needed. Something flew across the room. A big old stuffed animal levitated and threw across the room. I said, "Well, thank you," and I got out there. And then from there, we proceeded to do this fumigation and push the demon out. But yeah, that was some scary some scary stuff.
Yeah.
So would you? Well, we all know that demons and negative spirits like that can set, and like Terry Todd taught me, these things can set for years after years after years, and no response, no nothing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it's
Bam.
like turning on a light switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then all hell breaks loose, literally.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes. I know. When you say that, it brought me back to a case we had about 3 years ago. What happened was I get a case request from a former Navy SEAL. He's in his late 50s, but he's retired like Navy SEAL. Got his head on straight. I mean, I'm in the military, and I've had to deal with some Navy SEALs. And let me tell you, they have their head on straight. They always think logically, and they always come to a logical solution for everything. What happened with this, his wife, for 10 years, she has been exhibiting a lot of medical conditions that the doctors cannot understand why she's having them. Now, I'm a firm believer that if you're going to do this demonology field, you have to master the art of reading the case intake. That'll tell you where you need to go from there. If you need to go ahead and treat this as a demonic case, if you need more investigation, or if you just need to tell them first and foremost, I need a psychological evaluation done. But when I got the case, I was reading through it, and it was the first and only time I've ever had a case request where I had no more questions to ask. He gave me everything I need off that one email. But to put it a long story short, after his father passed away, him and her moved into his father's house. From day one, she started having a lot of medical symptoms. It started off as plantar fasciitis, something simple as that. So he said throughout the 10 years, she started having panic attacks that they don't know where it was coming from. The fight or flight feeling. She having a lot of strange heart palpitations, but they couldn't figure out what was going on. She even got to a point where she had thrush of the mouth. Well, I'm not a medical expert, but I do know thrush of the mouth for adults is somewhat rare. Now let's say if you're taking some antibiotics, that may cause it. But I asked her husband, I'm like, has she ever had to take any antibiotics? And she has only once, many years ago. But throughout the time that she was exhibiting these symptoms, she wasn't on any kind of antibiotics. So I'm like, has she ever had cancer? The reason why I asked is maybe she was taking chemotherapy. But other than that, there was really no rational explanation, and even the doctor said that there was no rational explanation why she's having thrush of the mouth. So that got me to start scratching my head. I'm like, well, maybe we do have something spiritually going on. So I looked at the case again, and then I started seeing the clear signs. Number one, when you're dealing with a demonic, it is going to want to isolate the person that it's after. And lo and behold, when you read, they have always been a traveling couple. They like to travel. But since this started, she's been isolating herself. She don't want to leave the house. They started having some trouble with the marriage, which when I see that and I see the history of their marriage, they've had a very strong marriage, and then all of a sudden they're having some squabbles. You're seeing, for me, I'm seeing clear signs that kind of points more toward a negative way, and then to even solidify what I was thinking, there's a specific prayer that I give all my clients, and what it does is, number one, it spiritually prepares you for what's going to happen, or number two, if you are oppressed, if you have something attached to you, you will have reactions from reading this prayer. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The person may get sick. The person may pass out. The person may start having fits of rage, or the person might be reading the prayer, and all of a sudden all the words just jumble up and they can't finish it. That stuff will happen. So gave him the prayer, and lo and behold, she couldn't finish the prayer. So her husband said, "I'll finish it for you." And when he started reading it, he said, "Leon, I'm a man's man." He said, "I ain't scared of nothing." He said, "But that night, I got so scared, I got chilled to the bone and I couldn't move." I asked him what happened. And he said when he was reading the prayer, he got this overwhelming feeling of fear just all around him.